welcome to Heroes and Droids. Hey, look, it's Jeff. How you doing, Jeff? Welcome to Heroes and Droids, your guide to movies and TV shows about superheroes, sci-fi, Disney, and action, from Marvel to DC, from Star Wars to Star Trek, from James Bond to the Fast and Furious. We'll review theatrical films, streaming delights you care about most. This week we review Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, episodes 3 and 4. As we try to stay on the rails, it's the ship will hold. The ship will hold. All right, I'm your host, Doc Rotten, and joining me tonight are my co-hosts. Starting off with the one and only Chad Hunt. How you doing, Chad Hunt?
I'm awesome.
Incredible.
He's standing right behind me.
Yes. Right behind you. All right. Also joining us is our special guest host, Jeff Moore. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great too. God, I love this show.
The Star Trek show is what he means.
We love you too, Jeff.
Both. And Jeff, you are a Star Trek Uber fan, right? Like Christopher G. Moore is a Star Wars fan. You are.
Yeah, I'm not a Trekkie or a Trekker, but I'm a fan of all the media stuff.
Well, this will be interesting. Tonight, we are reviewing, that's scary. Let's go this way. We are reviewing episodes 3 and 4 of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. We're going to talk about both of them. We'll mix and match and just kind of wing it as we go. We're going to cover the series in pairs every other week. And we're going to give our first impressions of the 2 episodes. That will be spoiler free. And then we'll get into discussion. We will get into spoilers. There aren't many, but the ones that we will have are important. And then we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts, our score, a 1 to 5, and our favorite scene. And of course, we hope you enjoy not only this review, but many others we have on the site covering all kinds of things, things that are on Disney Plus, Paramount Plus, and in theaters and everywhere else. It's amazing. But let's dive into the card and see what we have to say. All right, Star Trek: Strange New Worlds 2022, not 2021, from Paramount Plus. I got 2021 everywhere. I swear to God, I thought I changed that, but I did not. Season 1, episode 3 is Ghosts of Illyria. Episode 4 is Memento Mori. That would be May 19th and May 26th. Directed by Leslie Hope on episode 3 and Dan Louie on episode 4. Written by Akiva Goldsmith and Alex Kurtzman, who is the showrunner. Based, of course, upon Star Trek. Created by Gene Roddenberry. The cast includes, was not limited to, Anson Mount, Ethan Peck, Jess Bush, Christina Chong, Melissa Navia, Babs Atsum. I messed this up last time, right? Mankun.
You're not doing so hot this time either.
Rebecca Roman. All right. Thanks. Synopsis are: Una must control a secret she's been hiding when a contagion ravages the ship, incapacitating the rest of the crew. The next episode, Pike must find an unconventional Starfleet method to deal with the malevolent force that attacks the Enterprise. Yes. I'm just going to start out saying that, okay, I am very much a Star Wars person. Star Trek is something I enjoy, but my attention's always been towards Star Wars. I absolutely love and remember fondly the original Star Trek from the 60s because it was on constant rotation growing up, and reruns, and I've watched episodes over and over and over again. I probably had the little fuzzy tribbles that you could get at the time. I had Amigos. I was into it, but Star Wars, once it came out, overtook that. And for me, I'm saying that because watching these episodes, especially these past 2, gave me that old Star Trek 60s feels, and it really feels good. I've tried watching other Star Trek ones, and I think, and there's various reasons why those other ones capture the feels, but not always. They always try to go beyond them. This one so much captures the feels that I am absolutely hooked. But now let's get into the actual episodes. Jeff, you are up first. Give us your first impressions of episode 3 and then your first impression of episode 4.
Well, I liked them both, but for me, episode 4 was much better. Episode 3, I enjoyed it. It was like a an above average science fiction episode, I guess.
Yes.
And we find out, I feel like they're, and this happens a lot at the beginning of a series. The first episode was kind of your introduction to the crew, a little bit more about Captain Pike, I guess. The second episode was really about Uhura, and the third episode is really about Una, or number 1, and the fourth episode is really about Lion. Although you do find out pieces about different other people while you're doing that. You find out some stuff about the Doctor in episode 3. So I liked it a lot. It had a real Star Trek feel to me on what they were dealing with. But I like how they keep bringing certain things back up again. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I'm going to keep this short. I just enjoyed it. I like the idea of Starfleet Remembrance Day, which was in episode 4. I like this idea in episode 3 of the disease that's transmitted by light. Mm-hmm. It's carried on by light in some way. Anyway, and all the different things people tried to figure out to get more light, because that's what happens. You crave light to the point of self-destruction. So anyway, but that's when we find out some stuff about Una that we didn't know. This episode could be called, episode 3 could be called "To Hell with Starfleet Regulations."
Yeah, could be.
Anyway, but I like the second one a whole lot better. Meeting up with the Gorn and all the tactical stuff. And there was so many throwbacks, so many quotes and things that I just loved that came back to mean something more. So I'm going to leave that for now, but I loved it. There were so many things in that episode. It was crazy.
Yeah, a couple spoilers dropped, but no big ones. We'll get
did I?
A little bit, Gorn. All right, Chad, sir. What was your first impression of episodes 3 and 4?
The more we get into this series, the better I'm liking it. Whenever I want to see episodic Star Trek, I go back and watch the original series. What I love about this new series, is each episode is its own story, even though there's smaller subplots involving character and stuff like that, and character development of some of these characters. Each story is more or less contained unto itself. You don't have had to watch another series maybe to enjoy this. But if you're a fan of Star Trek, there's a lot of familiarity to it, familiar characters, familiar settings, and stuff like that, which is I'm just loving it. I'm really loving it. And 3 and 4 are just better. It just keeps getting better and better. I know we'll get into the plot and all that after this, but yeah, even a lot of the newer characters are really cool. The doctors, especially in the one episode, everything is just so, it seems fresh, but it also is very familiar to if you're a Star Trek fan. And I'm by no means a Trekkie where I know every little fizzle about every little thing, the Starfleet, what regulations. I can't name any of that kind of stuff, but I am a big fan of the stories of Star Trek, and I'm like that with almost anything I watch. The story is the thing, and if the story gets me into it, and it's doing a wonderful job of that. It's very well written, and the special effects are just insanely good. I think as far as a Star Trek series goes. So yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it, and I can't wait to watch the next episode. I can't say that about too many other things I watch on TV, but yeah, this one, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised how much I agree with you on this, Chad. I am very much feeling it too, and I'm not a Trekkie, like I said at the beginning, at all, but this feels just right. And
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned the special effects, because that was one thing I noticed. Like, the special effects are amazing, but yet they still don't feel too far removed from the set based. Like, and we'll get more into it, but like when they have the altercation, and the bridge is a little damaged. It looked just like it would be damaged in the 60s, right? Except for snazzier. Oh my god, I think what's Pike is really winning me over, and it feels so Kirk-like, but without being Kirk. And and I'm just loving it. The third episode I really enjoyed. I was surprised by it. And I think it's the character development that really makes it work. There's a sci-fi story going on, with the planet that they're visiting and everything, but it's the character development. The relationships. There's a number of relationships going on, and characters grow. There's arcs in here, and that won me over for that episode. But at the same time, even without that, the sci-fi elements were pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is.
There was new things that I hadn't really thought about that were interesting. The fourth episode, I agree with Jeff, is even better. Right? It's far more tactical, if you will. Right? And the reason why is the difference between the two is. Pike is basically grounded in the first one on purpose, right, to propel the story, and the second one, it's very much Pike taking control. Of course, he relies on his crew, and that reliance on his crew, the teamwork of it, is so much what I'm really enjoying as well. Right? There's all this character development, but it's a group of characters, and they're all developing, and our lead character relies on them, and that is amazing. I really, really enjoyed these two episodes, and Chad, you're right. Every single episode seems to be getting just a little bit better, and I'm excited to watch the rest of them. This is going to be so much fun. I like I said, I can't believe I'm sitting here gabbering and about a Star Trek show. So wow, so much fun. But let's get into the details. Let's start off with the Ghost of Illyria. In this episode, they are on a planet that's Illyrian, and they've lost contact with them. So they're going to find out. The Illyrians are into modification, right? And it's against the regulations of the what is it, the Federation, right?
Yes.
And we find out what happened to them, what it all meant to them, and what they encountered. The Enterprise encounters as well and has to deal with it. And secrets are revealed. Secrets I did not see coming. Multiple of them. One of them came out of the blue, so there was no reason to even suspect that one. But the other one, I suspect was there, but I just didn't know anything about the Star Trek universe to even recognize it, that it was even being hinted. And of course, that is spoilers. We're in the spoilers that Una is Illyrian, right? And she is modified, and the way they reveal that is quite fun, quite interesting. So let's get into the details. Jeff, you were saying you liked the sci-fi story of it. Elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, the idea of this virus that's transmitted by light, and then it also creates a deficiency in vitamin D, and the people become like crackheads when it comes to light. They can't get enough of it to the point of doing, one of them tries to drop the warp core containment and set off an explosion, and somebody else tries to transport a glob of molten metal from the planet's core.
Yes.
The engineer.
Yeah. So they're just doing crazy stuff to try to get the light. But it was, and then the whole thing on the planet with Spock and Pike with these fires,
ion clouds,
things.
And
yeah, that was just crazy. And I'm still not sure I know exactly what was going on there, but that's okay. That's what makes it really good, I think. so yeah, the science that was involved in that, whether or not she could use her blood, and then the thing we find out about the doctor and his daughter, and how he's. Did you know that you could keep somebody in the transporter buffer indefinitely? You know, and we're like going, holy shit, you know.
Now we do.
You just got to bring
What's
him
he
out every
hiding?
once in a while.
Yeah, what's he hiding? Yeah, so that was genius. That was a great idea to insert in there and make part of the. I'm sure it'll be ongoing. You know, it'll come back up again. And then this idea of the Federation. I mean, there's also social commentary in here, because it's the idea the Federation won't let the genetic modifications into the Federation, so they won't let the Illyrians in, mostly because of the augments that were led by I can't remember Khan. Can never remember his name.
Noonien Singh.
I couldn't think of Noonien. And so this La'an is part of that, but she's apparently not an augment, but she's been treated that way and cast out, and maybe we'll find out later she is. I don't know. I mean, there's but her experience with that, and then Una's experience of she outs herself because she is not. That's what I meant about breaking Starfleet regulations. Was there was two things that they mentioned that one was she shouldn't be a member of Starfleet because she's an augment, and the other one was the doctor, what he was doing with his daughter and the transporter buffer, and it almost killed everybody on the ship. And they both kind of ignored it. But then at the end, Una has this she's doing this log entry that she ends up deleting, but she talks about, you know, would if I hadn't have saved all those lives, and you know I wasn't one of the good ones, would they have ignored this? One won't be enough just to be, you know, somebody who's doing the best they can, that they don't get discriminated against. So that's, I don't know. I like that stuff. I went way past science fiction. Sorry.
You did, yeah. Chad, you had to be happy that they name dropped Khan.
Yeah, I always am. That's one of my favorite Star Trek characters. And I can't remember Rebecca Romaine's character's name.
Una?
Una, yeah, Una.
Yeah.
When she picks up Hemmer,
yeah.
You know, I was like, oh, she's Illyrian, you know, because she just picks him up and he looks like the lightest of rag dolls, and just throws him over her shoulder and carries him through that was a shock. That was a jaw-dropping moment right there. And because you expected La'an to be the augment, you know, because of her name and everything that comes along with that. But they sort of twisted the script there and made Una the augment. So that's gonna make some nice dramatic tension in the episodes to come, and the conversation that they had later, Una and La'an, about her being an augment and everything, it was very interesting as well. But the whole legacy of Khan looming over this whole episode was palpable. You could really feel that character there, even though he wasn't actually involved in it, you know, which I love that a lot as well. But it was a great episode, full of those surprises. Like we said, the doctor's daughter has this disease, so he sort of keeps her locked in the transporter matrix or buffer there. And he goes in to see her every now and then and read a book with her or play a game with her or something like that. Just added a whole nother layer to that character. And then I love the way they just keep building these characters up and up. You know, it's going to hopefully lead to some really good stuff in future episodes. But I was just totally loving the whole thing, loving the whole episode.
Loving the whole thing. Yeah, there was some great character moments too. Like when they didn't have the power, so they didn't have the ability to treat everybody, right?
Yeah.
So and they ran out of plasma, and the Una says, no, give the plasma to the last person that needs it, and she's going under this operation. Or am I confusing the 2 episodes?
That's in the next episode.
That's in the next episode. But
Yeah.
you get so both of them have that, and we get a lot with the doctor. It leads into that, right? Because Una and the doctor have an exchange about the daughter, right? She figures it out, and she learns from Pike.
Yeah.
And then she applies what she learned in the scenes before with the doctor, and that was great. And that relationship pays off, like I said. I was getting out of myself, but it pays off in the second episode.
Yeah.
So there's some great things there that I really enjoyed. And you also see where people's minds go when they get this urge, this addiction to light. I'm going to bring in all the plasma from or all the lava from the core of the earth. Just the thought processes I thought were amazing.
She's like, that'll kill you, right? I absolutely do know it'll kill me.
But it'll be 1,000 degrees, more like 10,000.
I know.
He's a great character too, Hammer, the engineer.
Yes, I'm getting by the 4th episode, definitely, right?
I had no idea he was blind until that episode. I didn't. Either I missed it in the first couple episodes.
They said something in the first 2. I don't remember.
Yeah, when they first encounter him, she at the Uhura runs into him and Spock. All right, so let's get into episode 4, where we're going to another planet where something is going odd, and people, you can't find any life forms. Go down to the planet. It's all this really horrific stuff, and then they find a ship hiding, cloaked. It's a very specific ship that you can't teleport from because of the radioactive material that it's supposed to be transporting, but in this case it has like the remaining people from the planet, and it causes a situation that allows another villain to appear, our villainous race, in this case the Gorn, what is the episode in the Arena, right?
Arena.
Now I didn't realize that the Gorn were this big. Advanced, right? I always think the Gorn of the guy in the
back in the original episode, all the Gorn you got out of the Gorn was
the only
he was a badass,
in the original episode all you get is you only see the captain, you never even see the ship, so they've got a lot of leeway on the ship. I don't know about the people. They're making out the people to be like something Cthulhu dreamed up, the ancient ones or something.
Well, they also have a very warlike mentality. I mean, you get their presence, and there's also a similarity between the two, and that involves light, because here they communicate with light. We learn later on, and they use that to the advantage. And here that we get the same thing. We get a lot of character development. We get some we don't get it. Well, we do get a name drop, but it's not a character name. It's a maneuver that we get dropped that we've heard before, right? So it's very interesting. We get a lot of callbacks, like the Enterprise will hold and stuff like that, and we get the it very much, this one more so than the previous 3 felt very much like the original Star Trek episodes, except for far more advanced, like the special effects with the ships, especially the Gorn ships. It's quite
which were awesome.
It was quite amazing.
The way they moved and flew through space.
Yeah.
Was awesome.
Absolutely.
Especially when the big one arrived, right? And that was comes out of the.
I thought the little ones were awesome too, because they were doing this kind of spinning thing. It was crazy, and they were sort of like a spiraled throwing star or something.
The only thing that disappointed me, but it's a small disappointment, and it doesn't count against it at all, is like we didn't get to see the Gorn themselves.
Yeah, that was on purpose.
I'm okay with that.
But I think they're waiting.
I think so.
I thought we were gonna see him when La'an had her Vulcan mind meld with Spock and had the flashback.
We get a shadow. We get a
We
shadow.
got shadows, yeah.
We get a shadow.
Shadows.
And we know what the sounds they make, right? We know the
Yeah,
sounds they
yeah,
make.
and we're kind of, they know that we know what the Gorn from the original looks like. So
Mhm.
I think they're kind of playing around with our expectations a little bit too. So they might not look exactly the same when we see them.
They can't, right?
Yeah,
They can't.
but I feel like they'll probably go with something a little more horrific. I think, judging by the shadow.
Mm-hmm.
But something, yeah.
Cold-blooded. Definitely be reptilian.
Probably.
Yeah, reptilian. Yeah.
Well, I think we got that in the shadow, right? Because there was a snout.
Yeah.
Feel to it.
But you thought Klingons were warlike and bad, and these guys. There was just a lot of cool stuff in here. You got a lot of shields are at 25%. Shields are at 20%. You know, they just keep hammering that on you as a viewer to like keep that tension up, and it works.
Right.
Right. And one of the things that I was really impressed with is they really got into the loss of life more than they ever had before. Yeah. Because we lose 7 crew members, right?
Yeah.
They're all red shirts.
We see one of them. We see one of them because he saves the transporter guy, I think.
Right. Yeah. And I call them red shirts because in the original, they always beam down at least one red shirt to die.
Yeah.
So
well, we got to see some of those deaths too, like the guy that got trapped behind the door, and so that it's a little bit. And I love that Pike is like, he's not perfect. He doesn't. He goes to the crew and says, "What do we do? Mm-hmm. Give me an option. What do we do?" And they tell him, and he goes, "That'll work. Let's try that." I love that about him. That he's not a super heroic, infallible guy. I mean, he
does come up with his own plans, though. I mean,
he still does.
I fell in love with Anson Mount's portrayal of this in this episode, in episode 4, because there's so many, like when they're fighting the Gorn. I don't know if you guys caught this or not, but it's like the tactics we're going to do a bombing run, bombs away, and then the next one was dive, like a submarine, to go down too deep and the ship's groaning and everything, just like a submarine in the old war movies. And then the last one is we're going to surf our way out of here.
Yeah.
The Pike, black hole. I just thought it was awesome. And then in the way he said stuff, like when I think it's Spock tells him it's you can't do that. It's if we go too deep, this will happen. And he goes, "Good idea, Mr. Spock. We need to go deeper."
That's not what I said.
Well, he was like, "Whatever happens to us happens to the Gorn too."
Right. And that played off. That paid off.
Well, and then he also talks about how he plays off their turns their strength or exploited their weakness, which was their relentlessness.
And
he
Spock
knew they would follow him to their own.
So. Spock does that when they encounter him, because they use the ship that they won't be looking for, the transporter ship. So there's so much. And I've, correct me if I'm wrong, the Pike maneuver has been said before, right? That's part of these.
I gotta look it up. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I assume it is. I
feel like I've heard that before.
I know they've done that before. Slingshotting out of a black hole was not a new thing, but they made it seem new because it was the first time they did it, supposedly. Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure Kirk did the Pike. Kirk did the Pike maneuver and called it that. So, and our pilot, I forget her name, but who I'm getting to like more and more every episode.
Ortega.
She because she has a maneuver that we got in the first episode, right? But she names it and everything.
The Pike maneuver was from the original.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was pretty certain. I could have been horribly wrong with that, but oh man, I really liked the outthinking, right? It was all about strategy and coming up with plans and alternatives and teamwork and then also sacrifice, right? Because he had to sacrifice people, and the effect that it took, which played out extraordinarily well when, although since we knew Uhura was going to die, but the scene where he can't get a hold of them after they were holding onto the rope when they injected all the stuff out, right? And I loved the emotion on his face was
when he was told
so
there
powerful.
were casualties.
Yeah, and then when he was waiting for them to answer and they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then Spock too. Spock showed a little bit of the human side this episode from time to time. Just little hints, right?
Yeah. No, there was great stuff in that. Also, the time where they were going to do the slingshot thing, and Ortega was kind of freaking out, and Pike looks at La'an. He just gives her a look and kind of nods at her, and then she jumps in to encourage Ortega about how good she is, and we got this, and it's going to hold, which I thought was awesome. It was he was enlisting support, which he had talked to her about ahead of time, about giving people hope. It was incredible. There was a lot of stuff like that. And just like you guys said, when he, the other look that I got that really shook me was when the Gorn come out from behind the holographic moon, I guess, and are start to attack.
He goes, "Oh no!"
He says, "Put up shields," and they go, "We can't. We got that tube connecting to the other ship," and he gets a, like they got me, It's just like,
I think he literally says, "Oh no," doesn't he?
I don't know, but it was a great look, and I just love the way he deals with people with stuff like that.
Yeah, great character. I don't know if I ever anticipated this character being so strong, but it makes sense, right?
Yeah. Neither did I. I mean, when the series first started, the first episode, even though I liked the way he was introduced, riding the horse through the snow, even though I liked all that, I was very apprehensive to how his Captain Pike would be, and man, was I. That was just not founded in reality at all, because he's great. Yeah. He's great.
And he's, he's not superhuman at all. He's very human, and he's very the human side of it is just as important as the tactical side. He comes up with these tactical tricks that have callbacks to 20th century warfare almost, and but at the same time he would stop with La'an, who's obviously really angry about something, and stop and ask her,
he's a great leader. He's a great
leader.
He is.
Yeah.
And
it's almost like he lets them, like when Una said, I'm Elysian, and he's like, huh? What? Like, he don't care.
Yeah.
He goes,
but they'll be mad.
It makes nothing.
Let me deal with the Federation, right? Yeah.
Which, like you mentioned earlier, Doc, she faced that same situation back again with the doc and everything, and where Pike showed her mercy and
compassion,
she turned around and saw herself in the doctor's place and showed him the same compassion.
Yeah,
that was great.
When he's talking to Una, she's turning in her resignation, and he just goes, "Rejected." She's like, what? I mean, you don't have a choice. And he said, "You're the best number one in Starfleet, and you're exemplary." So those are things that stick in her head, to tell her about herself. But yet she still questions about, sort of like, what about the other Illyrians? What if I wasn't exemplary? Would I have been defended or not? And so that was a good question.
Yeah,
very well written. That was so well written, I thought.
Yeah, I'm I can't wait for these to do more with this. This is extraordinary TV, and I wasn't expecting it at all coming in from the outside. So great stuff. So let's wrap this up. Let's give our final thoughts for each episode, our score for each episode, and our favorite scene from each episode. Let's do episode 3 first. We'll go all the way around, and then we'll go around again with episode 4. Jeff, why don't you start us off? Episode 3.
Okay. Well, these are all really good, and I'm I guess I would give episode 3 a 4.
Okay.
Because of the science fiction and the character development and everything. I think I gave them 5s last week, so this is still really, really good. I just didn't think it was quite as good as, like, say, the Uhura episode, but it's very good. We learned more about Dr. Mbenga, and we learned so much more about Una, and we learned more about Pike, and there's a comment there about La'an says to Una, what did Una say? I still haven't quite got their connection previous to this, because Una says to La'an, those nights we spent looking at the stars is what gave me the dream of going to Starfleet. And then La'an says, yeah, you're the one that gave me the dream to join Starfleet.
Yeah, I think they're teaching
strawberries as a comfort food or something. So anyway.
Yeah, I think they're teacher and student back in the time, right? And
yeah.
So there's a master and.
Well, I heard her say something like she helped me escape or something like that. So I'll have to figure that out. But anyway, wow, favorite scene.
Pick it. You can do it. Pick it. It's yours.
Yeah. I had so much stuff written down. I'm going to say.
You write stuff down?
This is a thing that it was just a callback that we haven't talked about. And it wasn't quite the way they always used to say it. But the doctor's like, there's nothing I can do with this knowledge you're giving me about your blood. And she goes, you're a Starfleet doctor. They always come up with something.
I do like that.
And it wasn't the same thing, but I'm picturing McCoy saying, I'm a doctor, not a,
Not a doctor. Oh, wait.
Oh, my God. That'd be so much. Oh, my God. That brings back so many memories. All right. Chad, episode 3.
Episode 3, I thought was awesome. I loved everything about it. I want to give all these 5s so far. I'm enjoying it that much. But I have a feeling there's things that may be coming down the road that are really going to knock my socks off. So I'm going to give this one a 4.75.
Okay.
And my favorite scene in this episode, which we didn't talk about much, but they're trying to fight off these ghosts, these ghosts in here.
Very Ghostbustery scene when they appear.
and so they think that these things are something to be feared, and when actually, and they're busting through the door, these spirit things or whatever they are, we're trying to bust these ghosts of Elysians. We're trying to bust. They had the door barricaded, and they're trying to bust through the door, and this giant ion storm is coming. And so both him and Spock get down on the floor, and these ghosts come in and just surround him and protect them from the storm, because the window burst and was letting all this storm in. And that was just a great. What they were so afraid of was actually trying to protect them the whole time. Yeah. That was just a great scene. I loved that a lot.
Yeah, I like that scene too, and I was going to choose it, but for a slightly different reason. And that's because when the ghost, or the whatever, we'll call them ghosts for now, because they say it might be actually the people. When they disappear, they're just laying there on the floor together.
Yeah.
It was almost comical. All right, episode 3, I thoroughly enjoyed. And if this was the best Star Trek New Worlds, Strange New Worlds was going to give me, I would be amazed. I'm going to give it a 4. And I think it's kind of the same reason, Chad. It's because I feel like there's so much better. The next episode there's so much better coming. But this is really good. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I said, the character building and all the things that happened to really get into the entire cast here. I mean, it's Una-centric by all means, but it's not just that, right? Probably more so than episode 2, which was Uhura-centric, right? Because it was very much focused on her. But this one, gets a little bit more than that, and I really enjoyed that. So what am I going to choose now for my favorite scene? I'm going to choose a scene when Una is figuring out that she is infected and she's going after the light, and then we get this shot of her glowing.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't. I mean, I didn't know that
Yeah.
she was Illyrian. I don't know if you guys knew, and this was not a surprise, but I didn't know. So I didn't know what was I didn't know what was going on. But it was one aspect of this episode that we really didn't address is the mystery part, right? Because there's a mystery, like why is she immune?
Yeah.
And and it felt a little.
And why she lied about it.
Right. And it felt a little devious at first.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, there's something going on here. But then it turned on itself. But I'm going to go with that. So let's go on to episode 4. Jeff, let us have it.
Well, I'm giving episode 4 a 5 because I just thought the writing in this was genius. The turns of phrase and the speeches that there's a couple of short little speeches that Pike gives that are just, I don't know. Done the wrong way, they'd be hokey, but it was just,
he could have been very
he's creating a character that, and I don't think he's like, I don't think he's like Captain Kirk at all. I think he's quite a bit different. But I don't know. So again, I don't know. The writing is genius. All the tactical stuff, tons of science.
Oh yeah.
In the science fiction, tons of. I don't know. I just could go on and on. In terms of favorite scenes, I'm going to list a couple of quotes.
No.
Well, and more than I should, but there's one where La'an is describing the Gorn. And she says, have you ever seen anybody? Have you ever seen eyes that are both dead and hungry at the same time? I thought that was a great line, and then she goes on to tell how the humans are just feed bags to the Gorn and prey, and then they talk about a breeding ground, and they feed them to the hatchlings and stuff like that. But the really big ones are the two that Pike says. One is the one where he's talking to La'an and says, your job isn't just about orders, it's about hope. Belief can be the difference between victory and defeat. Get them to believe in miracles and they might just give you one. I just thought that was
I love
awesome.
that line. Yeah. Really,
and then at the end, or then when he's getting ready to do the surf thing and they just don't know what's going to happen, he has this line where he says, we never back down. We do not give in to fear. This is not our last mission, but our finest hour. I don't know. I just thought it was awesome. I mean,
that's a great
wanted to get people psyched up to do something. That was great. Anyway, I just love Anson Mount's performance here, and I read something where they said that his style of leadership likes to build consensus, and that's why they came up with this. Where he has everybody come to his cabin and eat. He feeds them like they have Uhura come in. That was something they added because of his apparently preference, or I don't know, maybe they discussed his style of leadership before they started writing the character. I don't know.
It shows that they did. Yeah. Chad, you're let us have it.
Okay. Okay.
Joe Patrick, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Even though I like this episode better than the last one, I'm still going to hold off and give a 4.75. Just because I just have a feeling I'm going to save my 5 for something really spectacular. So
who says we can't turn the amp up to 11?
We might have to.
That's what I think they're going to do. They're going to turn it up to 11, and then I'm going to be out of 5s. But yeah, this was an amazing episode to me. The whole strategic battle with the Gorn just had me on the edge of my seat. I loved the whole thing. I loved the whole aesthetic of the ship as it's getting damaged. You see these little tubes and wires hanging down, just like in the old 60s.
Yeah, even
show
on
when
the floor.
yeah,
on the
yeah,
floor is like little,
yeah. When the
like,
Enterprise would get
what the hell
damaged,
was
you'd see all
that?
these little tubes hanging from the ceiling. That was good. That was great
Sparks,
and awesome.
sparks.
Yeah, and so yeah, this was oh my god, this was so good. And my favorite part, or it's my stand up and yell moment, yay, yeah, was when they said, "But sir, we have one photon torpedo left. If we fire it, they're going to see our location." He goes, "We're not going to fire it. We're just going to get over the top of them and drop it on them." And that's what they did. That was so fantastic. It was so, and it's pure Star Trek. That's pure Star Trek.
And Ortega says when she does it, he says drop torpedo or something, and when it's done, she goes bombs away.
Yeah,
bomb bay doors
awesome.
open or something like
Yeah,
that.
That was so awesome. Yeah, that was my favorite scene.
I like that too. Yeah, episode 4 is by far my favorite of the 4 episodes we've gotten so far, but I still feel like it's only going to get better. So how do I give this a 5 as well? 4.75 is what I'm going to go with. I'm going to reserve that last 25%. And if I'm going to back it up by saying if we'd seen New Gorn, maybe I'd have done it. But but if we'd seen New Gorn and it was bad, it may have dropped it down. So I don't it's kind of hard to argue that. But I keep talking about feeling like the older episodes, and this by far just felt. I mean, yeah, he's not Kirk. He's not Kirk. It's totally different. But there's a familiarity and a resemblance. I more like you feel like Kirk learned from him, right?
Yeah.
It's like you see that some of Kirk traits came from from being under Pike at some point. So it's rather incredible how good this episode was without even, other than the ships, really seeing the villains, right? But they had such a presence. And then, of course, we get a lot of character building and a lot of really fun callbacks to the original episodes. And I just really enjoyed it. My favorite scene, I could choose a bunch, but I really enjoyed Spock and what is her name? I keep forgetting her name. Lon. When they're in the shuttle and they go and they trick them, right? They trick them into destroying their own ship because of their nature. They exploit their nature, and I don't know. That really impressed me. It really impressed me, and the way they work together. And but I was also thinking, okay, these might be your 2 most valuable people on your ship, and you're going to send them off to what could be a suicide run. Is it smart? I don't know, but hey, it's sci-fi, so you go with it. But
you want to succeed though, right?
Yeah. You got to succeed. You got to get the right people on it. But I get that. But it just but I wouldn't be.
And that was a result of that was a result of a Vulcan mind meld too, which would be an early time of seeing that.
There is something that's revealed in that on both sides. So now there's a connection between the two, and I'm certain we're going to explore that connection now later on.
Well, there's a connection with Discovery too.
Is there?
Because Michael Burnham is his sister.
Okay, I don't know that, so.
I've never watched Discovery.
I've never watched Discovery. I don't know what you're saying.
So he comes right off his experience with Discovery after he decompresses at home or whatever in the mountains, and then does this. And Michael Burnham was Spock's adopted sister, kind of. Her parents were killed in a shuttle explosion or something. Anyway.
I don't even know who that character is. So
Michael Burnham is a Earthling who's raised Vulcan.
Oh wow, okay.
So
that sounds interesting.
Interesting conflicts, yeah. So.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. That's our review of episodes 3 and 4 of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. So join us in a couple of weeks when we do. You guessed it, 5 and 6. How many episodes are there? I think it's 10.
13.
13. All right, we're going to do 13 by itself, which I imagine is going to be a cliffhanger of an episode. So that'll be fun.
Hopefully.
And we'll wrap things up then. So yeah, we've got a few more of these coming out, guys. Jeff, Chad, thanks so much for joining me. This was so much fun.
Yes, it was.
Thanks for letting me invite myself.
No, absolutely. I'm so happy you're here. Yeah. All right, let's say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.